Okay, are you guys ready? Hello there. And the usual, how is the sound? Because I've always had some problems with the sound. I don't know why. 'Cause I don't have any problems on my sound when I do videos here. I need to do very little tweaks. Okay, I wonder what that was. Let's put that on silent mode. It was actually the app to tell me to go to sleep, or I should start, you know, perfect for me is case. That's good. That's good. And let's see how far people are from. We have the first comment came minute before we started, or a couple of minutes I pressed the go live. It's from Selah, Washington. That's Libnodal. And then you got Case Simmons from Breda, Netherlands. Jörg, hello, Jörg from Switzerland. How are you doing? And Tony from, this is the hardest word always to say when you have all these shires, Worcestershire, UK. Then you have when we have Range Rider from North Carolina, Anne from Kuopio, Alison from Switzerland, and Soviet Sobiter from Bavaria. Those- Yeah, and Sue Townsend from Auckland, New Zealand. Always appreciate when we have all over the world from people. We have states and the New Zealand. That's great. Then we have Patrick from Belgium, Peter Blake from Southeast London, Richard Priestley from England, sound okay. And then we have Yossi from Haifa. And then is that a place, Tony? No, did you say already that you're from somewhere? Tony Alford, sound okay. Worcestershire, is that, I don't know, sorry, is that a place? Loud and clear in Colorado. Excellent, John. Glad that the sound works this time. Maybe I've figured it out. I don't know. That's good. Yeah, but I think we should start looking at the images. And but before we get into those, let's check which uh, assignments these images are from. And yes, architectural abstraction is by far the most popular, and yeah, very good set of images. And then we have the second one is intentional camera movement. Okay, yeah, this is something that wasn't supposed to be here because just I was playing around with the assignments, and then all of a sudden I realized after I've published everything that I have this camera movement, kinetic photography, and all that long exposure things quite often here. But yeah, but it's a good practice also, because if you have made it before and then try to make the third time even better than the first two, if you chose those or made those images from that, so it's not always that bad. That's how I explained it now that I kind of messed it up. But yeah, I'm glad that you people liked it. And then we have forced perspective, and then minimalistic abstracts was not that popular. And I only got 29 images this time, so we will show all of the images that I got, which is always nice to have those. And at the end, I will declare the image of the month, which I have been doing lately. And that's something. It's not a competition, this whole thing, but it's nice to give some credit to the best image, because that might hopefully push you doing even better than you have so far. But yeah, let's get into. I have to figure out my. There is the right button, so that let's hope that this image will be there. Yes, and we'll start with Judith Clark Upton's image, which is uh, from an ice rain. I think, didn't you have an ice rain image last time? Nothing wrong with that when you have some good looking images like this. Maybe I'll move out the mouse so it won't disturb our viewing experience over there. Yes, very abstract image, even though this is intentional camera movement, could be abstract too. These are leaves that are in there is eyes on the leaves, and I like the color and the texture. And this image could be printed big and put on a wall. Maybe opening up the bottom part to make it more even, the exposure. I mean, nothing wrong with this, but I would prefer if it was a bit lighter. Just use the what do you call the tool that you can open up the shadows from the bottom part, which a gradual tool, like a gradual mask. That's what it is, and then open up the exposure slightly. I think it could be better that way. But yeah, I like these type of images. They are, kind of abstract, and they start. You need to think about the image, and it's not obvious right away, but always, have something that you can identify for and give the viewer the joy of finding and understanding the image so that it's not too abstract. But I think this one works in that sense quite well too. Well done, well done. And then we have Anne Kasurinen. Yeah, this is a snow butterfly against white background, really framed butterfly, and a blur created by camera movement. I'm trying to create a painting-like image. That's what she says. And yes, it is a painting-like image. And again, my water is on this side this time. Yeah, and again, an abstract image that where you can see a butterfly, especially here you have the, I don't know what you call the things where how they feel and navigate. Know what those are called, but anyways, you can understand what I mean. And there is the shape of a butterfly. These type of images can also be made with multiple exposure. You have some kind of a shape, and then you have something else in the background, and works very well. And it's a pleasing image, and this is real Anne's style. She's been showing us some interesting images before too, so this is a nice addition to that set of images that we seen in previous live streams. Well done, and I think you achieved quite well the painterly look on this image. Let's see if there are some comments. No, antenna. Yes, that's what the word is. These are antennas. All right, cool. Thanks. And let's go to the next one. And this is Max Yost view inside the arcs of harbor of Tazacorte, La Palma, Canarias. Very interesting shape, and I love the how the light makes the image, and it's very bright. You see the sunlight is very bright here, but it's not overexposed. You can still see the texture in there, and I like the contrast, the color contrast, the warm color of the arcs, and then you have the blue sky and some clouds and nice texture and pattern from the light. This could be an excellent place for portraits, or somebody standing there, a car going, or something happening. I don't know if it's possible to drive there, but that could be something to add to the image. But it is nice and abstract. And yes, this was architectural abstraction, as you probably figured it out. Yeah, and this I totally agree with this comment from CMALC8 that the patch of blue sky makes this so much better. It does. It's an important part because it kind of tells us about the thing, and it kind of gives the scale in a way. And also the color contrast is a thing that works in this image really well. This could work as a black and white, really abstract, really high contrast black and white too. But I like the colors; they're really nice on this image. Well done, well done. It's this button here. Then we have Patrick Wandlerberge, who I think, if I remember correctly, he had the image of the month last time. Recording of architecture buildings, combination of angular and round shapes, standing close to see the detail of both shapes. Yeah, this is really well made abstract image. Maybe the sky is a bit dull because it's there is not much. You could maybe have it in color so there will be a color contrast, really bright whites and deep blue sky could work on this. It would probably be maybe less abstract, but still, that could be improved on this image. But this is also one of those images that you really don't kind of see what it is at first, which makes it interesting. You have to stop to look at the image and figure out what it is. And I think that's one thing that makes this image real nice. And maybe adding some contrast. I'm not sure about this. Maybe a bit more contrast could make it even more abstract. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, sorry, it's sea milk. Yes, that's what it is. Oh, I got it. Brad Warrior, good morning. Sorry I'm late. No worries. No worries. Melbourne, Australia. I don't know. Did you know that Matti Sulanto is in Melbourne at the moment? You've probably seen his videos too. And let's go to the next one. Yes, this was a good one. Then we have an image that, of course, is forced perspective. And Bill Landon, whose image this is, he placed a flag on the building. Well done. These are fun images. And these are a bit of a cliche sometimes if you go to a famous place and then you have the Eiffel Tower or something. You have a I can't do that. Yeah, you have a house there, and then you can kind of grab the house or something. That's that's always fun. Of course, it's a bit of a cliche, but I think this is well made image and tells really well how the forced perspective works. And it made me smile. And it's a good idea. It's not the regular cliche where you just show something like this and how big it is or something like that. But it's there's more interaction and some uh, kind of movement in the image. I like this one a lot. No, not that one. We'll take this one. And this one is Lasse Löfström. I experimented with intentional camera movement. Most of the results were purely abstract, so that one could not guess where the photo was taken from. I like this one because one can see that it shows a house with trees in front of it. It was taken in blue hour, and the color streaks are from the windows of that house. Yeah, exactly. That was what I was saying earlier. That if the image is too abstract, then you might not know what it is. Yes, I could see the house and the trees and still have the abstract feeling on this image. And I like the color palette. There's very strong blue and yellows and earthy colors, and then you got some purple here and some darker tones here and all that. So I think it's full of color, and I like the way that the camera has been moving. And then I like this little twist here at the end, which makes it interesting, and it kind of doesn't give it up or reveal uh, right at the moment that there is a house. But here you can see you got some structure of the house over here. And this, I don't know what this is, but it's really an interesting color. It's slightly, in a good way off balance because you have such a dark colors here, and then you have brighter color or lighter colors here, and it makes it interesting. And really to trick the viewer, you could see how it is. If you turn it 90 degrees, then yeah, you would lose the subject. But if you turn it upside down, it could also work like that. It's an interesting looking image. And then we have the next one, which is Ari Kalliala, and this is a from a photo walk in Tampere. This is the building is called Tampere Hall, which is a culture and congress center. And what caught his eye was the color contrast with the light and the color of the building. It's white. But now, of course, I think this is taken later at night, and it's the blue hour, what I think. And I bet that this is made stronger in image editing, which is always a good thing, and something that you always should look into if the image editing will make it better. And I like this image a lot, and especially the colors here, and then you got some lighter blue and some yellow even here, and then this deep blue, and then this really strong yellow in that. I don't know what that's. What is it? It's let's say where's no, that's kind of yeah, but it's also an like a color. How would I say that? The colors make the image, but it's also the abstraction of the part of the building that makes the image look really good. And composition too, it's slightly kind of off in a good way that it's an interesting image that even though there isn't much in the image, there's still a lot to look at kind of like look at the image because you have the curve, and then you have kind of like going the other kind of like curve the other way, and then you have this structure in the middle part of the image, which is kind of like it grabs the attention, then the eye starts to wander around. I really like this image. Then this one is Ryan Fox. I love taking architecture photos in harsh light where the shadows become part of the architecture. Yeah, this is a place to have harsh light. Usually harsh light is no good, but on these type of images where you have really strong shadows, really abstract things like there are stairs, and this is the shadow of the stairs, and then you have pitch black, and then this is really strange looking when you have this blue part there, which is kind of you know mind blowing because you think that this is a black and white image, and then all of a sudden you see the blue sky over there on the right side. This is really interesting image. Not really sure is that too distracting or not. I haven't decided, but an interesting way of making the composition. I don't know. It needs to you know process in my head a bit more, but I like the image, and usually if image raises that type of things that you start processing and thinking that, and uh, it's usually an interesting image. If an image is just like they just look at it and go to the next one, it doesn't stick. It's like going through Instagram, just swiping to the next image. But this one is something that you really stop and can't really say if it's good or not. And it doesn't really matter because it's good because you just want to look at it so long. It's strange image in a good way. But so if there is harsh light, which is usually not good, try to do something like this. Go for the shadows and go for the bright parts and see what comes out. Yeah, this is exactly CMalk 8 what I was talking about. Yes, hard to figure out how the blue rectangular go there, but it does. That's why it's it's wonderful. Well done. Then we have another a bit similar type of image, which is this is minimalistic abstraction or minimalistic abstract. Front light mid-daylight created the shadow of the branches on the side of a local little free library that had been brightly painted. I just really like the bright colors. I wish the shadows were a little sharper. Yeah, usually that's something that it's hard to do when you have branches usually, and they are not that close to the building, so that there's always this kind of what do you call the gra- gradual colors going for or the black going to the red on this particular time. I don't think it's unsharp, or is it? Maybe that one is a bit curved, so the sharpness is over here. That could also be, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's kind of cool, and you see the top part because of the contrast and the bright and intensive red, and then you kind of see this, and then you see the blue, and you start thinking, what is it? I don't know what it is. It doesn't say here. Little free library that had been, yeah, yeah, a free, yes, that's what it was. And these type of uh, sceneries or small pieces are everywhere. So everywhere you go, you can see something similar if you see them. That's because you need to see this and pre-visualize and understand that there is an image right there. And this is, I think, it's quite striking image, and I love the colors, and especially the blue is just something that this needs. Without the blue, it wouldn't be that good. I would say that it wouldn't be an image at all, to be honest, if you take out the blue there. I think it's just, it works. Really well done. Well seen photo opportunity. This is what I always like when people see things that might not at first glance be an image, but then they find it. That's really excellent. Then we have Alison Caviezel from Switzerland. His picture is taken in an old Swiss cellar. Love the curves of the roof and slightly wonky window. Yeah, the the light on this image is strikingly good because you can see the tech or the texture and the shape of the little wonky wall. And then you have this kind of odd shaped window, which is just and all the negative space around it. And this also has a bit of a disturbing, and again in a good way, the composition when the window is not in the middle, it's not in the like by rule of thirds or anything. It's somewhere between, and that's makes it more interesting. If it was in a perfect spot where it should be according to the rules, it wouldn't be so interesting. Now there is some kind of a tension because it's not, where you would expect it to be when it comes to the composition. And this what I like, and also like the uh, outdoors, which is also slightly overexposed, but there are some textures there, which and the color too. The color of the light is also part of the thing. It's not much different. Of course, if it had some blue sky, for example, or really deep green leaves or something, it could be a different image. But I think this way it's better. It would have been too much if there was that. I think now the shades and the color of the image or the colors that are here are really well balanced. This one also could work as a black and white image, but I think this warm tone is quite nice, and it actually looks better on the stream than it's on my screen. This image, you know, actually benefits when it's slightly more contrasting. Well done. And then we have Dirk Schunemann. This is an image of a glass panel building reflecting the building across the street. I think the distorted reflection contrasts well with the straight lines of the window frames. I totally agree. And these are also slightly cliches, but when you do it like this, I don't think it really doesn't matter because it just works. And especially the color. I love the color of these. Makes a nice contrast. And then you have the curvy windows, and this is always something to look for if you walk in the city or wherever there are reflective surfaces like window, buildings that are made of glass or whatever. And look for those and see if what you can see. Sometimes you might see a reflection of the city, you might see the reflection, and you might be at the same time you might be seeing something that's inside, and try to make a composition out of that. Those are endless possibilities. You can spend hours in the front of a window to photograph because the thing changes all the time. Yeah, well seen situation, and it's obvious that it's a building, but still it's abstract enough to trick the mind a little bit and see what on earth is it. Yeah. This again, real, real nice. And then we have Dominic Depot. This picture, and this is forced perspective. The picture was taken at the site of a closed coal mine. Next to the tower, there is a labyrinth, and the picture was taken from there. It was taken with a, yeah, that was a Fuji X-A4, but no, that's not that important. Afterwards, a lot of editing was done in Lightroom. I felt that the structure and lines would stand out better in black and white, so a second edit was done in Silver FX Pro. Yeah, editing, like I said earlier during this live stream, that image editing is a big part of making the image look as good as possible. So if you are not very, you know, good at that, so then, practice, practice, because that can lift up your images. But remember that if you have bad images, though they the images won't be good if you edit them. But if you already have a good image, and editing could make it even better. And I think this one tells that. And look at the details you can see here. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can see it on the stream too. And I like the forced perspective because this structure here is probably a lot smaller than it looks, or makes bigger. It gets bigger because it's closer, and this one is further away. And again, abstract image too, and it doesn't really open to your uh, mind at an instant. You need to take a look at it. And the composition is well made because you have the V shape here, which, and then you have these here that frames this, and then you have something that breaks that perfect composition that makes it. It's kind of like a almost symmetrical image, and then this breaks the symmetry, which is, and also this part here, which is good because it's slightly off. It's an interesting place, and if you have a possibility to go there again, these are the places where you can get really interesting images. Well done. This one, anyone guess what this is? I'm gonna wait for a little while because there's a little lag. Anyone, can you guess what this is? It's a very interesting image. I really like the colors and and this part here makes kind of like a context that it's somewhere. And yeah, here we go. And we have a winner. CMalk 8 drones. Yeah, that's what it is. And drone show live view. So this was taken with live view, and live view is, or live composite, I bet it was. And that's a good way to make these type of images. And I like the different colors. The exposure is perfect because you can see the different colors from the light. Unfortunately, it is slightly unsharp, which is a bit pity, but it doesn't really matter. But maybe some uh, software like Topaz Photo AI could make it a bit sharper to so that the image looks a bit better. It's actually, again, on the stream, it looks a bit more contrasty, and this, yes, could benefit from adding slight contrast. That would also make it look a bit sharper. But yeah, it is an interesting image because first you might not see what it is, but then once you know what it is, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a nice pattern what the drones are making. It's a great light show, probably. And we're almost halfway through. And this is architectural abstraction. And yeah, this is, I would say that the image itself is great. And I like the composition because it's slightly off and not the usual. And that's why I like it. Is it an abstract image? Well, maybe the architecture here is pretty abstract. And the story is that Tim Blank has been living in this area, and he's been totally different looking than it was 50 years ago when he was cycling around this area. Well, I can imagine that it looks totally different, but really interesting looking buildings, and probably nice apartments on that. If I ever go to London, I wrote that where this is, so maybe I could go and see that because there's a lot of photo opportunities on this one. But to be honest, maybe it's not abstract enough for the assignment, but it doesn't mean that it's not a good image. Well done. Yeah, and then we have another architectural abstract image, architectural abstraction, Ray Hudson. These are waterside residential apartment buildings of no particular architectural distinction. So I tried to imagine how an abstract painter might disi- depict this scene. Erodio photo editor used to wrap the photo. Lumina Neo AI generated the abstract patterns. Yeah, this is a good idea. I like the thinking behind this image that there is a. So I tried to imagine how an abstract painter might look into this scene. That's a good way of looking at the thing and start using the creativity and excuse me, and think a bit differently. What would someone do? And that's also a good practice to do. What would another photographer do? If you have a favorite photographer and you could mimic the style and make an image that kind of is inspired by someone, that asking yourself, how would this and this paint it? How would this and this photograph it? That's a great practice. And when it produces this type of images, great. I just love this image. And I think this boat here or ferry or whatever this is, I think it's a really important part of the thing because it gives some more um, uh, kind of like a what do you call it, the texture kind of, or more information about it, even though it doesn't take too much space and too much attention. But the color green on here is really good because it's such a good color contrast with the purple colors here, and I like the textures too. I think it's well uh, a well-made composition and composite image. It really works well. I need to try something like this, and I also checked out what this Erodio photo editor is. I have to look into it a bit more. Did I say the Ray Hudson? Yes, I did. Then we have this abstract painting looking image from Case Siemens or Siemens Case. And reason for my choice is complicated. ICM is the type of photography I don't feel I can control it fully, but after doing it for a while, I have the feeling can come up with something nice pictures, although there is still a huge luck factor. I like these types of pictures, dreamy. Yes, you were mentioning luck. Yes, photography is always also about luck. You you just have to give the luck a chance. And if you try and you think and use your creativity, surprise, luck will appear. So it's not always luck. It also is experience after practicing and knowing the craft and thinking creativity. Then all of a sudden you start having luck. So don't believe in luck. It's usually, well, sometimes it can be luck, but it usually is just your stuff if you are lucky in this sense and getting these type of images. And this could be a painting, and I like this a lot. I like the shades and the colors, and the brownish color here, and then you have the green, and you have green, and maybe you have a sun here, and shadows, and all this. This also could be a you know, painted or painted, but I mean printed and hang on the wall. Works well. Nice job. Then we have Jörg Hummerjohan, Swiss Federal Office of Public Health. Out of cam. It is nice, but not super exciting building around the corner. However, the light, no clouds, and my pen F with the stunning lake and 9 millimeter guided me to this corner of the building to create a maximum abstraction. Yes, it is real abstract image, and this is also one thing you start thinking what it is, but of course, quite quickly you understand it must be a building. And yes, the dark sky and the huge contrast here and lots of still it's not still just black and white. There are a lot of gray shades too, and you have texture. I don't know, you yeah, you can see this on the stream too that there are some texture here. So really well done and slightly the the keystone thing or what do you call this? Is that yeah, the keystone correction. Anyways, is well done. It kind of slightly like it's twisty or what do you call this when you it and composition is well done. It's, kind of 1/3 golden ratio type thing. And then the start small vignetting here. I don't know if it's the lens or is it done afterwards, but really well used wide angle shot of a building, which is usually not the angle that you would photograph a building. That's why it is interesting. Well done. Oops. And then another image that really made me smile. You probably guessed that this is forced perspective. And also his name is last name is Warrior. That's all at least that's what he put on the uh, form. So it's Brad Warrior is the photograph. I picked up my battle axe and proceed to chase the interloper from my backyard. A fun assignment. Yeah, I can imagine that you had a lot of fun making this, and it's quite realistic. Even though you of course you can see that it's not because most is because this is kind of a it's a toy. You can see that, but I love your expression, and you really thrown yourself into the assignment. I enjoy this image. This is something that you could play around a bit more and see how you could maybe have a coat something like this or you know finding an outfit of a warrior have a helmet or something and see where that takes or have different characters to play around with. This is a fun image. Yeah, I like this. Then we have Isabelle Fourret. And then wait a minute. Now, this photo was taken in the main courtyard of Palais Royal in Paris, among the Buren columns. I aimed to make the black and white stripes clearly visible, so I intentionally moved the camera in vertical motion. I used the active voice and kept the sentence short and straightforward to improve clarity and flow. I was I was there for the February challenge of my photograph, but due to the crowds, I focused on few columns and attempted this technique. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the gridded area on the floor now resembled a liquid surface. In this photo, I must have moved the camera vertically downwards as the columns appear to reflect on the ground. I have taken other photos with vertical upward movement, but they do not look as good to me. Yeah, this good observations, and you probably learned a lot when you made this image because you analyzed many things on the image, and that's always a good when you kind of realize and you learn something that maybe you should go this way, and it looks different when you go that way, and it's always a good thing to experiment with different types of movements, and yeah, when you're concentrating on a certain thing when you go out to a photo walk and this is one reason these photo assignments, 52 assignment is there for the first place is to get you inspired by something. And when you go out, you do have an assignment because usually, if you have, at least that works for me, if I have something in mind, what I will photograph, my photograph will be better. I might end up photographing something else, but I'm in the mood, in the kind of in the flow. That's how things go. You concentrate on that, and photo walks are perfect for that. And photo walks can be done in the city, in the nature, everywhere can be done, and you can always find something to photograph. Sometimes it might not be that easy, but usually it is. That's why I really enjoy this image because of the backstory and the probably the learning process and the finding of different things. It's great. And then we have Lawrence Roach Force Perspective in the rain and wind in Brighton, UK. Yeah, this is quite nice because it is in a way a forced perspective because of the really small. Is it some kind of a sports field? Yeah, they're playing volleyball there. Yeah, it's a beach volley area, and you have the railing is bigger than the thing, and that's clever use of a wide angle lens. It really works well, and it's a bit surreal image too because of that. And you kind of see this, and then you kind of wondering, what on earth is this? It's kind of like a miniature, uh, you know, what do you call it, volleyball area or beach volley area, and then you have the beautiful sky, stunning sunset, and it's an odd image, and then also the composition here is kind of a distracting again in a good way when it's you have a lot of sky, which I know why because it is stunning, and then these small people. This totally surreal image. I really love this image. Then we have abstract minimal. It's and this is Annika Joval, and it's a close up of an electric cabinet. So it's one of those electric boxes. You wouldn't know what it is. You just see surface, you see colors, you see it's kind of that the surface what it is. It's metal most likely or some type of that, and you have all the scratches, and it's an interesting image. And even though I said earlier that we should know what it is, but on these type of close-ups, you don't really need to know what it is if it looks good. And I think the place where you took it was real good. I like the shape here and the blue color and some colors here too. And getting really close and making close-ups, you find a totally new world, and that's also something that you should be trying sometimes just to, doesn't mean that you need a macro lens. You can do close-ups with, if you have a lens that can focus like 20 centimeters or something like that, then that's enough to get in a interesting close-up. But if you want to try macro and go really close, then for example, the extension tubes is a good way to start, so you don't have to invest in a macro lens, which are usually quite expensive. But extension tubes are something that are not that expensive, and it's a good way to start doing close-ups and macro photography. Well done, Annika. I like this image, and it's this button here. And then we have Margaret Wong. My inspiration for this photo came from driving through an industrial estate where I saw smoke billowing out of a factory, and I thought about smoke as I drove home and decided to generate smoke and see what I could get. I tried several ways to generate smoke, but it turned out uh, incense sticks were best. It turned out incense sticks were best and cheapest. smoke is very uncontrollable, so it takes a lot of trials to get something a bit interesting. I like this view as it looks a bit like dancers. Yeah, that's true. It is kind of like a human figure here. You have the face here and the hair, and then you have the body here, and maybe the hands in front. That's what I see here. And yeah, these type of experiments are interesting. It's not easy to photograph. It looks very easy, but it is not. It's a lot of trial and error. You need to have a perfect background, which usually is has to be dark, and then you have to have some kind of a light behind the smoke so that it will show from the background. If you have front lighting, it might not be that visible. And then, as Margaret wrote, you cannot control the smoke. It, just have to be quick to grab the image. And usually, just click, 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 go really fast because you don't know what's going on. And this is something that you could do on a rainy day, or if you have nothing to do and just want to play around and figure out. And there are probably a lot of videos on YouTube how to do this, and different you know do it yourself things. And I think Margaret found a good way and made a really interesting looking image. And especially if making these types, and if you get some kind of figures, if you can get the smoke, or catch when the smoke looks like a figure, a human being, or some animals, then it's even better. You could make a real nice story out of this type of images. It's not easy, but an interesting image. It's a minimal abstraction, this one. Then we have Richard Priestley. The image is an apartment block in Birmingham, UK, that I came across on a photo walk. I was intrigued by the interplay and blend of shapes, designs, and vivid colors, and the intersection of the angles within the architecture, and sought to reflect these elements coming together. I then tried to highlight element of cubism and abstraction in the shot that was inside the Lightroom, and yes, works well. And when I was looking at this image, I was wondering that how it is so curved and perfectly curved, like it was like that, but can't be true. I just it plays around my mind. I can't figure it out, but it looks good. It's it certainly is abstract, and you still can see that it's a building, but it's like it was photographed through some kind of an odd lens or something. It's really odd looking image in a good way again. Yeah, and what I like about this is the shades and all kinds of different things here in the windows. Yeah, this is also an image that you could kind of like you don't want to go at just a glance, and next one. You want to look at this image because it got lots and lots of details and different types of things, even though it doesn't at first look like that. But yeah, really well done, well seen opportunity to take a good photograph. And a little similar, Peter Blake. The building is near London Bridge Station on Queen Elizabeth Street and called the Circle, with the street going through the middle. Instead of usual London Square, it's a circle with two semicircle buildings opposite of each other, exactly the same and very striking blue. The whole area around London Bridge Station and the River Thames towards Tower Bridge is delight for architectural abstraction. Yeah, last time I was in London, it was before the COVID time. I remember walking around there, but didn't have really mad at that particular time. I didn't have that much time to photograph there, so I kind of missed a lot of opportunities because of lack of time on that particular moment. But yeah, really well seen, and again, I like the way how this goes like this, and then look at the windows. You have the kind of like the same um, direction from the windows, and yes, the color is striking, and also very seldom, or I haven't really seen that many buildings that are this glossy, and you have the real hard reflection or strong reflection on this. Yeah, interesting and quite similar to the previous image. Well done, also this one. And then we have Steve Jones. I used a 10 stop ND filter to soften the rather busy sea and sky and focus attention on the simple timber framework of an old pier in Scotland. I try to include lots of negative staves to give the main subject some space. Yeah, this is also, a bit of a cliche way of making images, but this works really well, and it doesn't say how long the exposure was, but I can imagine if it tends up ND filter, it must have been, maybe even a minute or more than that. And yes, the color tones are real well in this image, and this let me talk about this. This is slightly something that not sure if it fits here. Maybe you could crop it a bit so it would be even more calm the image. But on the other hand, it might break otherwise a very simple um, composition. So it might be that it's a good thing. I would have to play around a little bit with the cropping and the composition if I would change it. But that's just my suggestion. That take a look how that works. It might not work on this particular image, but take try. And the sky. I like the how the sky is not exactly like the water. That there are some you know, uh, different shades and some texture type and different colors too. It kind of makes, and I would probably also boost up these yellow reddish colors to give it some more contrast. There's something I know that there is an image there, but there is still some image editing to do. But well done, anyways. I think it's a good starting point to make it even better. Not sure what it is, but you need to play around with that slightly. But well done, well done. Then we have an image from Sue Townsend. I wanted color and speed shown in this ICM, which is of course in intentional camera movement. I tried different movements, but like this one best. And this one was 1/10 of a second. It must have been no, it's not panning. It's just fast moving subject with 1/10 of a second. And it was stopped down to F22. Yeah, really well done. I like the the movement. No, this must be camera movement because this is also moving, of course. Yeah, of course, it is. Sorry about that. My bad. I wasn't I wasn't thinking. Yeah, and on this one, I like the color contrast. This is an excellent looking color, and then you have some yellow, red, blue, and some gray colors, and then a blue sky. And it just works. And on this one too, I would add slight contrast, just a bit of contrast to make the colors even more interesting. And especially what I like is this black part here. It kind of breaks the thing, and it's the shape and everything. It's it just belongs there, even though it's almost pitch black in the middle of the image, but it kind of belongs there anyways. I don't know how would this look if you would crop a bit off here and make it like 16 by 9 by cropping this part. I don't know. It depends. You might play around a bit and see how that goes. And we have a few more. This is Wilford Abernathy. While on a forest hike this week, I began thinking about how small creatures such as mice or insects view the world differently than us. Upon coming onto an electric power line cutting through the forest where most grass grew underneath, uh, uh, I thought I of just how a grasshopper observed the metal poles when looking upward. This resulted in an image for a perspective. Yeah, that's a good idea to try to alter the height of your images because, to be honest, most of our images are taken from our eye level, and it's not probably the best solution every time. Look up, look down, look over there, and try to photograph upwards, downwards, or try to see what the world looks from a small child's eyes that is, you know, really a small child, how they see the world, and go down and photograph from that height and see how your images changes. And this was a very good observation. And also, the image is a result of thinking a little bit differently. You start thinking how a grasshopper sees the world, and all of a sudden you get an image like this, which you know is is great. And that's how you get better when you start thinking like this. And we have had lots and lots of examples tonight about this, and I'm really glad that you could do that because that is, first of all, it's fun to learn new things and see the things and world differently, and then you will also get better because you start thinking more, and you might not, take this image again, but you learn something anyways. And besides, this could be a theme for you, how the grasshopper sees the world. That'd be a great project. I don't know what that would be, but a great project. I just love this type of thing. Yeah, this is the another cliche saying the thinking out of the box, but this is exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And I'm really glad that you think so, that it is great. And let's go to the next one. No, not this one. Let's take this one. This is Tony Alford. Pocket watch with a carpet background, taken handheld while zooming on 1 second exposure. This this is like a good symbol for, time is running or we're rushing, the rush hour, we're too busy. This is just a great image, and I just love this in the middle here. And then you have these and fairly sharp or sharp enough, the watch. And did you say it was said, yeah, handheld. Well done, because when you're zooming and handhelding it's really hard to keep the camera totally still. And then it's a carpet, so you had these here. It's yeah, well done. Everything just works on this image. Nicely done. Then we have Yossi Run, partial view of Sail Tower in the District Government Center in Haifa, Israel. Well done composition, and you found a good spot. It's on this side of the water. A good spot to photograph, and I think this image is good with the symmetrical composition because what breaks it is the reflections from the windows. It looks different. That kind of breaks because usually symmetrical composition is there is a place for it. But if you always have something that slightly breaks it, it usually works better, at least in my opinion. And this one has the reflections from the windows that make, you compare these two windows. There's almost white and almost black, which is kind of white here, and then you have these back windows, so it works really well on this image. Well done again. And then we had all 29 images, and then photograph. Did I spell it correctly? Yes, I did. Photograph of the month, and now drums. I should have some drums. I decided for this one this time. probably the first picture of the month that is made in Finland, which is always good, but that wasn't the reason. I always look at these images so that I don't know who it is, and I always when I've chosen the images, of course, this time we had all the images. But congratulations, Aki. This was a nice image. I don't know if you guys might disagree with me, but this is that I picked because it was surreal. Like someone commented on this image, which I didn't put on display, that is some kind of an underwater thing. And yes, that's true because of the blue or deep blue wall, and it's could be a swimming pool, and this is underwater. Yeah, that is that is something. But yeah, we had a really good set of images again, and like I said during the stream, that I really enjoyed that so many of you kind of had a good story on the image that and opened up your thinking process because that tells me that you have really put your effort to these images and to these assignments, which of course warms my heart if you enjoy this. That's the whole point of making these, and that's also a good way to learn when you start thinking. Sometimes you might fail and you just don't get any images, but don't worry, you experimenting will tell you something. And then when you find something interesting, like I was talking about the how the grasshopper sees the world, it'll be a stunning, you know, project of images and see how that goes. And I really enjoyed these images. And thanks again so much for sending this. And it's been such a fun thing. And I was talking about the window reflection. This is the one place which there's an old sewing machine. It's a what do you call a tailor shop or whatever, and fixes old clothes too, and makes handmade clothes for people and fixes them too, old clothes. And I saw this in the window. Didn't come out that well, but I think it was something that fits this live stream. But yeah, we have the next four assignments for this month, and hopefully I have time. Most likely I will in the beginning of April have one of these live streams again, and really appreciate your input and your comments and everything. It's just wonderful how good you people are making these images and thinking out of the box, like it was Sue Townsend who said that. It's just marvelous. So thank you so much. Hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.